What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. In today's video on the Call of Duty World War II private beta, I have found a brand new favorite weapon, and I believe you will come to appreciate this weapon as I have over time, especially with the full release of the game and the hardcore game mode becoming a possibility. This weapon, the M1A1 Carbine. With the second weekend of the beta, they have bumped up the level cap to 30. The M1A1 Carbine, I believe, unlocked at level 26, and I have been using this weapon religiously ever since. It is incredibly accurate to a fault. It does a fair amount of damage, it fires very quickly. This is exactly what I've wanted from a semi-automatic rifle in the Call of Duty franchise for a very long time. I'm sick of these super high damage but super slow firing semi-automatics. I've always wanted a semi-automatic that I can just spam off, very accurate, and does a medium amount of damage, especially because it's going to be so effective in hardcore game modes. This weapon is the #1 weapon to use in hardcore. I can tell you that before the game has even come out, before we've even experienced hardcore, and I can tell you that because the M1A1 Carbine kills you in 3 shots in core game modes, regardless of what range you are at. In core game modes, we have 100 health. This weapon is killing you in 3 shots, meaning it's dealing more than 33.3 damage per shot. In hardcore game modes, we have 30 health. That is a constant across every single Call of Duty game. Every single hardcore mode, we have had 30 health. That means this weapon is going to be a one-shot kill at all ranges, possibly even through cover in hardcore game modes. But that's not all. This weapon, as I've said, is accurate to a fault. There is no recoil, although it may seem like there is some pretty heavy recoil on this weapon, especially when you're using it with iron sights. You'll find, if you do a wall test, that every single bullet that you fire out of this weapon will go into the same hole. There is literally zero recoil on this weapon, even when spamming at full capacity. Now, without rapid fire, when you are spamming this trigger, you're going to hit the trigger stop, which is the point when you're firing a semi-automatic weapon and it won't fire any faster, and it'll almost slow down because you're trying to fire it too fast. But once you rank this thing up and get the rapid fire attachment, you can spam this thing a lot more easily. It just feels a lot more smooth with the rapid fire attachment, and it just feels like a great weapon, a very competitive weapon, very rewarding weapon for a skilled player. This is not a weapon that I would advise for someone who's never played a Call of Duty game or a first-person shooter game before, as you'll find it to be very underpowered compared to all the other weapons. You can use an SMG and you can bottom this weapon out easily in a close quarters gunfight. You have to be very tactical with how you use this weapon. You have to pick your gunfights, you have to pick your zones, and you have to be very accurate and very good with the trigger finger, because you cannot rely on aim assist. You cannot rely on the kick of your weapon pulling you into your enemies. With a fully automatic weapon, you can do that. With a weapon that has a little bit more recoil, you can do that because you'll start firing, the weapon will bounce around a bit, and it might hit your enemy if you're a little inaccurate. This weapon, every bullet goes in the same hole. That means wherever you're pointing, that's where the bullet goes. You have to be extremely accurate. So if you're a highly skilled player, I would heavily advise you use the M1A1 Carbine. I love the iron sights on it. You'll probably find that they'll grow on you. When I first took out this weapon, I was like, ugh, these iron sights are terrible. But I prefer them over the reflex sight, and you actually can't put the lens sight on this weapon, unfortunately. That would have been my go-to attachment for this weapon, but instead, my go-to attachments are rapid fire, extended mags. It comes with a magazine of 15 shots. That's 5 kills if you're accurate enough in core game modes, but the extended mags will bump you up to 22. It'll give you a little bit more wiggle room with getting kills. And I also use quick draw just so I can get in and out of gunfights by aiming down sights a little bit faster. Now, it would be really cool if we saw a select fire attachment, a unique attachment for this weapon in the full game. Similar to the rifle bullet attachment for the Luftwaffe drilling shotgun. That's a unique attachment you can't get on any other weapon in the game. The M1A1 Carbine actually had mod kits in the real world to turn it into a fully automatic weapon. There was a second successor to this weapon called the M2A1 Carbine, and it was fully automatic. However, they didn't start production on that rifle until later in the war, and so instead they sent out mod kits so that field operatives could actually modify their M1A1s to become fully automatic with like a 900 RPM fire rate. Could you imagine if we had a select fire attachment on this weapon? Maybe it drops the damage or drops the range or gives it recoil. That would actually be perfect. If you put on a select fire attachment, give the weapon a little bit more recoil, make it fully automatic. Oh, that would be ideal. Maybe a variant, maybe an attachment. I just really want to see a select fire for this thing, but it is my favorite gun in the game regardless. Super accurate, super good damage, range. It's going to be the best gun in hardcore, hands down. I'm just in love with this weapon right now. I'm just trying to sell you on this weapon because it's so much fun to use. High risk, high reward for very skilled players. You're going to find this weapon to be extremely satisfying to use. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Try out the M1A1 Carbine the next time you're playing the beta. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Check out some links in the description down below. My Patreon link, my Twitter link, and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.